चलिए। Hello. Hello, dear student. Whether my voice is audible or not, please confirm me once. Hello. Please confirm me. Hello. My voice is audible or not? Hello. Chali. I think it's audible. So now we'll start. So very good morning, dear student. Hope you all are doing well. And today we are going to discuss about 24th July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. So before starting this discussion, let me clear it very clear. So during our discussion, I'll help you to put all the news into context. That means which news is important for your prelims, which news is important for your mains, and from which section of area where you can write it, where this data is important, where the scheme is important. And again, I will tell you around you can say 10 to 15 tasks also I'll give you during this discussion. So it is your homework. After completion of the discussion, spend 1 hour and make note of it. And it is my promise you'll get 20 to 30 marks extra in prelims. Throughout all my attempt, I have cleared these prelims by using these techniques. You will also get around 80 plus marks in your mains also if you are just doing this analysis. So let's start. So first one is 15 lakh Bihar voter yet to submit form, says by the election commission. So this is in quite news because you can write in polity. So how all this process needs to be people centric. So decline to submit a deadline to submit the enumeration form for the SIR, that is Special Intensive Revision Drive, on Friday. 1 lakh voter remain untraceable, says Election Commission, and list of primarily incorrectly include electors here with booth level agent. So with just 2 days to go, the July 25th deadline. So around 15th lakh Bihar voter yet to submit their enumeration form as part of the Special Intensive Revision of State Electoral Roll, according to data from the Election Commission of India. Another 1 lakh voter remain untraceable, so that means they are not able to trace them. So 98% of the electorate have covered under this special intensive drive. So next is a draft roll. So after that they are going to publish name of the elector who have submitted their enumeration form will be included in the draft roll, and this roll will be available on 1st of August at completion of the first phase of special intensive revision drive. Okay. So next is if there is any error in the draft, any elector or political party can file an objection regarding the inclusion of the name of any proposed elector with concerned electoral register officer or an assistant electoral register officer. So if anyone find anything wrong, so they can file an appeal and they'll get this all these things. Na? So next one is Chief Justice of India agreed to constitute bench to hear plea on the behalf of Justice Burma. So recently, you have seen that Justice Burma, there is an impeachment procedure is going to start against the Justice Burma. So Justice Burma, in their in his house there is a fire accident happened, and in that fire accident, huge amount of half burn cash is found from the resident of Yashwant Burma. So after that, there is a in-house court procedure being set up by the Supreme Court judge, and they recommend that impeachment they suggest they suggest the Yashwant Burma to resign. But when Yashwant Burma refused to resign, so they recommend the committee recommend to the prime minister and the president to start the impeachment process against this Yashwant Burma. Okay? So this in-house inquiry committee, so this is what established, but it is not mentioned anywhere in the constitution. So that is the reason recently Jaspant Burma moved to the Supreme Court and asking that there is no such parallel, exist where it is an extra constitutional mechanism not mentioning any of our constitution. Okay, so that is what the objection being raised. Excellent. Okay. So the Chief Justice of B.R. Gavi on Wednesday said that he will be constitute a bench for hearing petition filed on the behalf of Allahabad High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Verma challenging in-house inquiry procedure. And this in-house inquiry procedure is established after the then Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna recommendations to the President and Prime Minister in the month of May to remove the judge from the office. Okay. So, constitutional issue. Shival said that the petition has raised several constitutional issues with respect to recommendation made by the Chief Justice Khanna, now retired, for removal of the Justice Verma. The petition argued that in-house inquiry process was parallel extra constitutional mechanism designed for the judiciary to as per the parliamentary executive power. So, they are in the view that the extra constitutional the committee that is being established, it is nowhere mentioned in the constitution. So this is beyond the power of the jurisdiction of court. That is what they are complain. So next one is election commission. Election commission preparation to elect vice president to announce poll schedule soon. So election commission of India has begun preparation active for electoral to the office of vice president, will announce poll schedule as possible soon. So election commission is mandated to conduct elections to the post under article 324 of the constitution. So you can see, so it is the responsibility of the election commissions to conduct elections to the president, vice president, MLA, member of legislative assembly, and member of parliament, and legislative council also, member of legislative council also. So these are the responsibility of the election commission. The election commission is governed by the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Act 1952. So you have to remember that. So there is an act called President and Vice President Election Act 1952. So they're also governed. Then next is Vice President rule. So there is a called Vice President Election rule is also there. So that is also governed according to procedure for election of Vice President. The poll related activity including preparation of the electoral college. So who are the electoral college? All elected and nominated member of the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha are the electoral college. Finalizing by the returning officer. Who is the returning officer in this case? Either the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha Secretary General. They will held in a rotation basis. If let's say this time it is Lok Sabha, next time it is Rajya Sabha. And preparation and dismissal of the background, the preparation and dissemination of the background material for all previous elect office of the vice president. Vice president is elected by an electoral college consisting of elected and nominated member of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Member of electoral college can vote according to their individual choice. So not bound by any party whip. So that means in case of elections to the Rajya Sabha, they are not driven by party whip. That means they can vote according to their independence. So according to the presidential and vice presidential election rule 1974, at least 20 electors have to be proposed the name of the candidate. At least 20 electorate has to be second. That means we need 20 candidate support and 20 candidate proposed by the convention, either Secretary General of the Lok Sabha or Secretary General Rajya Sabha appointed as a returning officer by rotation. Two other senior officer of Parliament Secretariat appointed as assistant returning officer. So to assist this function, okay. So next important issue is India resume issuing visas to the Chinese tourists after 5 years. So India will start issuing tourist visa to Chinese national after a gap of 5 years. The Indian Embassy in Beijing announced on Wednesday. The announcement, called positive by the Chinese Ministry of External Affairs, mark another step in the normalizing relationship between the neighboring countries. So we know that the relation has been deteriorated after standoff at the line of actual control and Galwan Valley clashes. Meanwhile, amid the bonhomie, Beijing reject the concern that New Delhi and Dhaka about the latest dam that is being constructed on the Yarlung So or Brahmaputra River in Tibet. China is constructing the Brahmaputra is like moving like that, and China is constructing a huge dam here. So this is what called ticking time bomb. It's called a water time bomb, water bomb. So anytime it can release huge amount of water, cause severe damage to the India also. Okay. So but they simply denied. Chinese simply denied all this allegation. They involve all these things and they will deny that there is nothing to do with security concern. So dear student, if you are preparing for 2026, then it is right time to start preparing the answer writing. So to write answer, you can simply scan this QR code, join our answer writing program. It is very nominal fees, and all our evaluator are either UPSC interview given or selected candidates will get high quality evaluation, very nominal price. And those who are giving UPSC, you can practice. You can also join by just scanning this QR code. So next is a telescope spot the start of planet formation in Orion. So the rocky, when a rocky world like Earth began to form, dust in the younger solar system first heated until it's vaporized and then cooled. So the very first refractory, that is heat loving material, could crystallize. So that means they go first there are dust. There are a lot of dust in the planet system. First, what will happen? So first they will heated. So once they are heated, so there is some minerals they are heat loving. So they'll come at the center, then form a planet or solid system. And after condensation, gradually this convert into solid form. So when rocky world like Earth began to form, dust in the young solar system was first heated until it vaporized. First, the dust will be heated to vaporize it. It will be in a vapor form. Then vapor form will meet together and form a uniform structure. And after condensation, it is cooled down and led to the formation of solid planet. So minerals could crystallize, catching up that moment. Another star system could show astronomer exactly how our planet form begin. So by examining this the star Hopes 350 in Orion, whose protoplanet disk is tilted just enough for someone on or near the Earth to peer deeper into the researcher. So inter the protoplanetary disk is a flat rotating, so no need to go in detail. So I think that is what more important. They would be, because these are very technical things, so I don't think you need to know about. But yes, you need to know about James Webb, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. So next one is Atacama Large Millimeter telescope. So you have to understand that this both two, this is called ALMA, and one is NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. You have to understand which country operate this telescope. Okay. So next important news is the vitamin D deficiency linked to neurodevelopment issue. So that means vitamin D is not about bone or other issue; it is about brain neural development also. So vitamin D deficiency represent more than individual concern. It is constitute biological inheritance transmitted across the generation, affecting the skeletal health. ठीक है? So from bones to immunocells, vitamin D is everywhere, guiding growth, shaping defense, but it could also affect the our mind also. Okay? So the babies with higher vitamin D level were less likely to diagnose with schizophrenia. So it's a disease, autism disease, newborn with a low level of vitamin D. With children who have higher level of vitamin D showing lower risk from young age. So next is neonatal vitamin D play more central role in early neurodevelopment and pathway than the mood disorder. So if children are having good amount of vitamin D, so there is high chances of good mental development and prevent any mental health issue. So next important issue is about what is the problem of vitamin D in India. Sunlight is abundant in India, but vitamin D deficiency is rampant, and finding carry special weightage here, because though we have abundant sunlight, but our standard of living is quite changed now. So we are living inside. So because of that, people are suffering more vitamin D deficiency. So a study conducted by AIMS Rishikesh between 2013-18 found 74% of the infant, 85% of their mother were deficient in terms of vitamin D. So that means it's very critical for their health, with nearly half experiencing severe deficiency. Another study, Bangalore, observed that 92.1 were deficient. During pregnancy, mother body undergo complex set of hormonal and body changes. Okay? Because they have to support the support the formation of the baby also. So changes to supply calcium and developing fetal skeleton. So these changes intensify in third semester as skeleton grow. So that means we need to have proper supply of vitamin D to ensure the healthy development. Now, despite this adaptation, maternal vitamin D don't rise unless sunlight exposure or dietary intake improve. So here we can see the importance of vitamin D in improving mental health of the children. So she argued that India need to shift from reactive treatment to the preventive care. So growing evidence of vitamin D role in neurodevelopmental very essential. Neuro means brain development is very essential. So strengthening the case for routine antenatal supplement, ideally beginning as first and second semester. So this is not about alarm. It is about recognition that the early brain development shaped by access to the nutrition, particularly vitamin D, is one such modifiable element that can must intervene or take at the regular interval. So next important news is that failing to take action against the climate change could violate the law. This is what said by the International Court of Justice. So, United Nations top court in a landmark advisory opinion on Wednesday said that country could be in violation of international law if they fails to take measure to protect the planet from climate change. This is first time International Court of Justice said that if a country fails to protect the climate change or planets, so in that case they will be penalized for not taking any actions. Okay. So and nation harmed by its effect would be entitled to reparation. Reparation means they have to entitled to pay to for their wrongdoing or their wrong they have inflicted on other. So advocates immediately cheer International Court of Justice opinion on nation obligations to tackle the climate change and consequences they may face if they don't follow. Why this is happening? Because country like USA they don't they are simply withdrawing from the climate change and fails to protect their fails to protect what is their obligation. The USA is responsible for climate change because they have emitted too much of pollution. But now under Donald Trump they are withdrawing from every institution. Failure of a state to take appropriate action protect the climate system may constitute internally wrongful act. So climate crisis is an existential problem of planetary proportion that imperil all form of life and very health of our planet. So climate change, whenever if climate change is happening, it is not going to spare it, whether it is rich people, poor people. It is going to affect everyone, and it is an existential crisis if we are not acting very fast. So there might be severe implication of that. So case led to the this case was led by Pacific Island nation Vanuatu, backed by more than 130 countries. So that means climate change is real. So we need to act very fast, otherwise it is very late. Okay. So next is a tool, AI tool added 11,000 crore in tax revenue in 4 years. So with a use of how we can use the AI tool to improve the tax collection, to identify the AI tool can be used to send pre-filled form, so that that can be ease with which people can fill the form. AI tool can be also used to find virtual digital asset. Also here the income tax department have employed system called nudge, non-intrusive uses of data guide and enable to send a letter to the taxpayer. So you can talk about how the nudge based AI system is helpful in improving the tax collection. So USA, Japan, and Indonesia trade pact hold lesson for India. So the announced by USA President Donald Trump that White House regarding the trade deal with Japan and detail of the deal with India. So significant implication and lesson of potential trade deal with India. So it's importance to remember that deals have not been officially signed yet. Recently there is a trade agreement that is being signed between USA, Japan, and USA, Indonesia. There we have seen how USA is using its pressure tactics to get so many concessions from the Indonesia. Particularly USA Indonesia deal is clear example how aggressive USA pressure can force country to slash tariff, commit to large purchase, and given control over their own regulation. India must be careful not to fall in that trap, because currently we are also negotiating with USA on a trade deal, and USA is very adamant on opening of our agricultural markets and auto component. But that India is small farmer, so we cannot open up our market, otherwise it might create impact for our farmers. Okay. So next important article is net FDI dives 98% on the lower gross inflow, higher repatriation. So recently we have seen that GDP growth, FDI growth rate is very less. So inflow stood at 35 millions in May 2025 compared to 2.2 billions May 2024. So 99% lower than 3.9 billion in April. So net foreign direct investment means how much money coming to India and how much money FDI is going outside. So this net is turning out to be very less. Okay. So net FDI, the gross amount coming into India minus amount of money sent abroad by the foreign companies operating in India through repatriation or disinvestment and investment abroad made by Indian company. This is what called outward FDI. So if a Indian company made investment in outside, this is called outward FDI. So reason behind this reduction in FDI flow, not only about the gross FDI, lower may because even the FDI that is coming is also declining, and some of our company they are investing outside. So that is the reason. So net FDI is declining. So tariff uncertainty posing headwind to the economic prospect. Recently, we are seeing that Donald Trump, after coming into power, imposing severe tariff on all the countries. So because of this tariff uncertainty, so there is a severe uncertainty in the world economy. So world economy might face severe crisis. So multiple uncertainty emanating from high tariff to be imposed by the Trump administration in USA pose considerable headwind to the global economic prospect while underpinning the macroeconomic risk of financial market remaining concern about Reserve Bank of India officials. So amid rising trade uncertainty and geo-economic fragmentation, India has an opportunity to deepen its integration with the global value chain by building more resilient trade partnership. Okay. So one second, yes. So, after the Donald Trump coming into power, so Donald Trump is imposing severe tariff with all the country to, it's a pressure tactics. He put pressure on the all the country to get the trade concession. So that led to the world economy at the state of flux. So that might impact the global economic growth. Okay. So, dear student, if you want to get a current affair that we are providing in a 4 page that include current affair of all the Indian Express, the Hindu, so you can simply scan this QR code. You can get the free NCERT test, CSAT test. You can scan this QR code also. So next is PM to visit UK. Trade deal set to be inked today. So we are going to sign a free trade agreement with UK. So UK say the deal will boost our trade by 25.5 billion each year. Modi will meet the Prime Minister of the UK. So two side hold talks on the technology, investment and climate change and trade margin. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrive in UK on Wednesday evening, kicking off the first leg of its two nation visit. First, both the UK and Maldives. So we are expecting to sign the free trade agreement. So here you can see the deal would boost the trade between the two countries to 25.5 billion each year. UK government statement. Indian consumer have greater access to the various British products from soft drinks to the cosmetics. So we are going to have access to the British product at very low price. So our tariff will reduce from 15 to 3%. So that will give boost to the trade and commerce. So next is sports bill in Lok Sabha. One board to oversee federation. So recently our government is trying to introduce sports bill in the Lok Sabha. So national sports governance bill introduced in Lok Sabha by our the sports ministry Mansukh Mandviya. The proposed it proposed a institute a board or that sweeping power to lay down rules oversees the functioning of the federation, including cash rich. That means the board of cricket is going to be BCCI is going to be controlled under this board also. The proposed national sports board will create a stringent system of accountability. All national sports federation will have to attend its recognition for access to the union government fund. So that means there will be a board named National Sports Board, and within that National Sports Board, all the sporting federation needs to be comes under it. That means the National Sports Board will be the overarching body to regulate everything. So another striking feature is that a National Sports Tribunal. It try to establish a National Sports Tribunal so that any dispute related to sporting activity can be directly go to it instead of going to the lengthy court procedure. And appeal from this judgment lies in Supreme Court. Okay. It's part of the preparatory activity for bidding Summer Olympic Games in 2036. So India is planning to bid for the Olympic in 2036. It is imperative that the sports governance landscape undergo positive transformations to bring better outcome, sporting excellence, and improve performance in a major international competition. So all recognized national sports body also comes within the ambit of Right to Information Act. This is also very good development. That means all the sports body they have to come under the RTA Act, which BCCI has vehemently opposed. Okay? So dear student, you can join our OPSC test series also by scanning this QR code. Its price is very less. Okay? So next is a father and daughter and political volatility in Bangladesh. So this is a article is talking about parallel between Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, so the founding father of Bangladesh, how his family have been killed, including entire family, and Mujibur has been killed. Later on, same thing happened in 2024 when there is a student protest that led to the removal of the Sheikh Hasina. But if you look into in both cases, there is involvement of foreign powers, that is the USA. So here you can see the USA wanted to build a USA naval base to keep an eye on Chinese and Indian naval built-up in the regions. So Washington wanted to have a regime-led someone who would be beholden to it and enjoy full trust and confidence. So that is the reason USA promoted the student protest, and student they think that they have protested, but in reality it is the foreign power. Okay, so you can see how foreign power they play important role in changing the regime also. Nothing much important, that is what most important. So in plastic industry trying to influence the green policy. So at first glance tobacco and plastic might seems to be related. So how tobacco industry has been functioning, so they are using a surrogate advertisement to promote their product. Same thing is currently doing by this plastic industry to to make their product sustainable, that they appeal to the customer that they are providing just like this. You can see about the tobacco, there is a warning that tobacco consumption is harmful to the health, but still they are promoting surrogately to get it profit. So at first glance tobacco and plastic might seems unrelated. However, environmental activists and health experts are now drawing attentions to how plastic industry backed by the fossil fuel giant mirror the tobacco industry playbook. They how the tobacco industry play the role for promotion of the tobacco without concerning about the health. Same thing is repeating by this the plastic industry, how the plastic mirror the tobacco. Both industry have used the profit driven tactics despite evidence of harm. Okay, shifting responsibility, many jurisdiction and advertisement of tobacco run a disclaimer smoking is injurious to health while promoting product better by weak public policy. This less onus on the individual choice. They put that it is the individual choice who is going to decide. So a plastic maker have blamed consumer for not recycling while diverting attention from the corporate accountability. And same thing happened with the plastic. They are saying that it is the responsibility of the customer to recycle their plastic. So it is not the corporate responsibility. So that means they are denying their responsibility. In both cases, the effect of for systemic harm to be recast as personal failure. So funding misleading. So they fund PR and science. Tobacco company have historically funded studies denying their effect on the body. Tobacco company they systematically study and give a flip that tobacco is not harmful to the health. So plastic industry promoted recycling as a resolution 1980 despite the privately acknowledging it is economic and technical impractical to scale. It is also same thing, plastic chair, it is quite difficult for recycling, but still they promoted that they can recycle it so that they can create a PR for in favor of their product. Most plastic waste continue to be incinerated. That means we have to burn that and landfill dump in the open. So same thing like in a greenwash. Already UPSC is asking a question about greenwash. The tobacco company once used to market the light and mild cigarette as a safer. Today, the absence of clear enforceable standards shortcoming in the country. So waste processing infrastructure render plastic that is labeled as biodegradable and compostable. So once what happened to promote their product, tobacco company says that some tobacco are good, they are safer, so and they are light and milder, so that it is good for health. That like not good, it's safer for health, so that people can consume it. Same thing is happening with the plastic also. Some company they claiming that these plastics are compostable, biodegradable, but they are not. So that is what they promote their product. Do they target the global south? Yes, now gradually the environmental norms for global north, like developed country, they are very strong. So how they can survive? So it is easy to target the global south because their environmental norm is weak. So they are shifting their focus to the global south. So next is where the India stand in plastic. So in India, that in India waste management system, bank lakhs of peoples from rake picker, shutter to grassroots recycle in the informal responsible for collecting processing 70% of plastic that is being recycled. But this work often comes at a cost of health and dignity, exposing them to the hazardous material and toxic fumes without protective gear. So during the process of collection and burning, so there are a lot of chemical and harmful chemicals that are being emitted. So that is what impact the health of this worker. So they face long-term health risks often live below the poverty line. So as per the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, so there are 80,000 sanitary and waste picking workers have been profiled under this scheme. So next one is further under the plastic waste management rule 2016. So manufacturer must responsible for plastic they generated. So this is what called extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility. Okay. So next is, can president reference change a judgment? So recently we have seen, so recently Supreme Court given an order that, what happened. I'm just giving a context. So Tamil Nadu government, they passed so many bill one after another, but the governor keep them pending for long, and later on they resolve this bill for assent of the president. Then the Tamil Nadu government reached to the Supreme Court, and they argue that by keeping pending this bill is violation of the constitution and violation of the democratic principle, and Supreme Court stated that yes, it is illegal, because if a elected government is passing a bill, you cannot keep pending this bill, you have to act within a time bound manner. And by using that principle, the Supreme Court said that all bill are deemed to be passed. Then in our constitution there is no time limit on which the governor and the president should act on any bill, but Supreme Court is given a timeline, so that create a confusion. On the one hand, Supreme Court there is no provision, but on the constitution there is no provision. On the other hand, Supreme Court given this provision, so that led to the president file a the president of presidential reference is filed under Article 143 to know about this detail. So you can see here, Supreme Court issue notice to the union and government and all state government on a presidential reference seeking its opinion on whether president and governor can judicially compelled to act within prescribed time limit bill passed by the state legislature. Okay. So that is going to see. So here you can see there are a lot of, I've already highlighted it. Please go through it. Crime against women mount as court and police filter. So if you look into that, recently we have seen instances after instances, so many crime are happening again in Odisha. So like recently a 15-year-old girl was born in Puri district, and death of the girl in FM college also. So Nepali student also suicide. So we need to act in a multidimensional way. We need to act in a comprehensive way to bring changes to entire system to make our society safer for the women. So recently, Swachh Sarvekshan we have conducted. In that Swachh Sarvekshan, so you have to study about detail, like, what are the parameter, which state, so they can ask a good question here also. So fixing Delhi air quality crisis. The current electoral mandate can enable state to fix achievable regional targets. So, the Delhi, if you look into the air pollution, so during winter season, pollution is very severe. So why it is happening, this air quality is very severe? So there are so many factors. It can be due to because of the construction, because of the vehicle transport, because of stubble burning, and even the environmental factor. Okay, so pollution is very severe, and the action that we have taken last few years, they are not enough. So the government also established the Commission on Air Quality Management in Delhi. So we have taken a lot of steps, but still the pollution we are not able to control, because the pollution emission that is emitted, they're transboundary in nature. If you are acting only Delhi, let's say this is Delhi and these are the neighbor states, you can control pollution here, but if the neighboring pollution is coming here, so that is going to impact. So instead of acting in a Delhi, so we need to act together in a concerted way, so that air pollution in Delhi can be controlled. So next is the spare the life animals move towards biological models. So what happened during medical trial, testing of any drug, testing of anything, we simply test on the live animals, and we have to understand that these animals are live. They are like human, they are also living being, and they are like, we need to show compassion to them. But during our medical test trial, we have killed so many animals. So what we need to show is compassion. Instead of testing all this, drug on the animal, we can go for tissue model, where we can design the artificial body part by using the genetic engineering or tissue 3D printing. Then only we can test all this drug and to verify what are its implication. By this way, we can save a lot of life. So suffering that animal undergo in testing laboratory is known. It is time researcher adopt a viable solution. So we know that there is a good law that protect the animal, that is what called Prevention of Cruelty to the Animal Act 1960. Okay. So next important news is danger of thought. So Maharashtra Public Security Bill endanger India as an open society. So recently we have seen the Maharashtra, they try to pass Maharashtra special public security bills. So it is try to give power to the executive. They can ban any organization as an unlawful organization, and those who are involved, they can be punished. So some people, including opposition, believe that this might be misused for penalizing opposition, penalizing any person having ideological difference. But if you look into other states like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, they are also having some sort of similar laws. The state argue that the Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha enacted Public Safety Act banned 48 Naxal frontal organization. So other state is also having this such law. But while we are making any law that protecting the action that can act against this all this subversive or national activity, we need to ensure that it should not be violate, it should not be misused, it should not be abused to create harm for the people. So that is what should be our main objective here. Okay. So next one is the reality of changing dimension of warfare. So recently we are seeing how warfare has been changing. You can see about Ukraine, Russia warfare, recently Operation Sindhu. So India need to act very fast. We need to reorientate our defense strategy. We need to defense modernize. We need to diversify. We need to invest in the technology, particularly AI, ML, cyber security, space technology. So this article is talking about how historically evolution of technology, how it is playing important role, and what are the learning from the current things. So India need to adopt the message to loud and clear that India should one and for all, we are entering a new era of technological warfare. India must adapt rapidly to keep pace with the changing taking place. Incidentally, it raised question about India's existing and established military modernization plans. These may need to be completely revised, revamped, perhaps relevance for many existing tenders. Okay, so overall, they consider room for rethinking about our infrastructure, about our fighter jet, about our everything. Okay? So that means the learning lesson we are getting from this warfare that is currently being going on different part of the world. Dear student, this is all about the 24th July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. Dear student, if you like this video, please like, subscribe this channel. Please comment in the comment box your comment regarding what kind of content should be provided. It is your like, subscription and comment that really motivate us to provide high quality content. चलिए end करते हैं यहाँ. Bye bye. Take care. Have a good day.